Hi, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. Today, I've got Rahul with me today, and we're going to talk about some of the amazing work that he's been doing with Mission Oxygen, and talk a little bit about your life as well. Where can people get hold of you?
First of all, thank you so much, Tim, for
You're
having me
welcome.
on the show today. Though I'm not a very social person, but I'm quite available on LinkedIn. Anybody who wants to speak to me or has any questions, they can reach out to LinkedIn. Just have to type in my name and probably just add Design Hill at the end so that I
Yes.
pop up, because there are a lot of people with the same name in India as well. So we're a large country. Yeah. So I think that's the best way to reach out to me.
So what's your journey? Because before we get into the Mission Oxygen stuff, let's talk a little bit about your journey, because you've won some amazing accolades, and you're still a very young person. Well, you're younger than me. So what is your journey?
So, I'm a third generation entrepreneur. My grandfather, father. So, I think entrepreneurship is something that, we grew up with, hearing stories, listening to our dads, uncles, everybody. And I think that's what really was always the dream, isn't it? To have our own business, to run our own organization, company, scale it up. And so me and my brother Varun, we started Design Hill in 2014-15. Over the last 6 years, we've grown it from a crowdsourcing platform to a complete design to print marketplace. We've served over 1 million customers. We have over 300,000 artists and creative professionals on the platform, and we offer range of services from crowdsourcing to freelancing, DIY design tools, printing services, custom printing services, and customers from all over the world. From over 100 countries that we've served till date. So that's what designing has been. And apart from that, I do a lot of angel investing. I run a couple of other businesses. We have a real estate company. We have a consulting company as well, through which we do investments and some consulting. And we have a mining business. That's a traditional family thing. We don't like get involved that too much in it. But yeah, that's what it has been. And a lot of the learnings that we've had in the last 6-7 years from that really what we used in the last few months when we started the Mission Oxygen initiative in India. So yeah, that's what's been our journey till now.
It's fantastic, and I think that I was on a call yesterday, and I was with one of the. I've been on a number of panels that Design Hill run, and I was with Tony Morris, who's also been on one of the panels, and he was talking about Design Hill, and it's amazing that you've been able to grow to 1 million customers in that short space of time.
Yeah.
It's all down to the internet. The fact that here I am in London. You're where in India?
New Delhi.
You're in New Delhi, and we're able to talk through the power of the internet, and you're able to provide services like you do with Design Hill through the power of the internet as well. It is an amazing success story.
Exactly. That's what it is, isn't it? Internet and technology has enabled us to really, it's removed boundaries, it's removed inhibitions, prejudices, and especially the last couple of years, if you look at it, people have really overcome that mind block that, things cannot be done online. You have to meet
Yes.
people in person. You just have to be there physically present at every meeting and every location to get anything done. And I think that's probably the change that has happened. It was gradual, but it has accelerated over the last couple of years now. And so yeah, design is something that is omnipresent, isn't it? We have design in every element of our life, whether it's our furniture, whether it's our business branding, websites, everything. And I think it's one of the most undervalued commodities for a business, for a marketing professional, but it's very, very important. And I think that's what we've always tried to solve. Make the great design accessible and affordable for everybody. So and that's how we built our services. We've served work from home moms, students who are trying to do their school projects, to side hustlers, and multinational organizations like Microsoft, Deloitte, SAP, and so there is something or the other that we have one kind of service for every kind of customer. So that's the aim.
And I think one of the thing about COVID, one of the benefits of COVID, is the fact that we've realized that actually the world is quite a small place.
Yes.
I mean, I'm certainly seeing that we're winning business in the US, whereas probably before COVID, the US company would have given the business to US companies.
Exactly.
Because there was that, we look after our own, whereas now people are looking far wider than that and saying what we want is the best, not necessarily because the fact that they sit down the road.
Right. And I think one of the things that people have also realized is that, why not, it's almost like industrialization, isn't it? I mean, if you look back 20, 30, 40 years, the entire industrialization shift from the Western world to the Eastern world because of, because they realized that the same quality of workmanship and products can be produced, but at a lower cost. And that's what migrated so much of the industrialization and factories to different parts of the world. And I think the same is with services, because people are educated, talented all over the world. Then you may find a great script writer in one part of the world, a copywriter in another, an SEO professional, and that's how actually new businesses are getting evolved. You may have your personal assistant sitting somewhere in Philippines, and you could have your graphic designer in Brazil, and I think that's the beauty of internet. That's the beauty of what online platforms are able to provide us, that flexibility. And then you're not bound by norms or fixed timelines, and you don't have to pay somebody or that you may only require work for like twice a week or thrice a week on a full-time payroll. You don't need to do that, right? And people are happy to do that, and it's become a way of life for many people to actually freelance and just make a living. And I think that's the future, isn't it?
Yes, I think, and so my partner's 26, and he said, why do I have to sit in a flat in London when I can go to Barcelona and I can do my job exactly the same, but I can do it in Barcelona just as much as I can do it in London. So he's gone off to live in Barcelona.
So that's exactly what I'm saying, right? So though I do also emphasize that there is a certain, I mean, it differs from business to business, because there are some traditional businesses or conventional businesses where you may need to have people in the same office space or the same factory or organization, but largely, if you think about it, a lot of the functions of a business can now be done remotely. And I think technology is the biggest enabler, and going forward, this trend is only going to increase. So maybe a few years down the line, you may decide and you may want to go and live in the Caribbean, and your partner's in Barcelona, and you're still running this business.
So we've talked about some of the good things about COVID. So let's talk about some of the bad things. So tell me about Mission Oxygen, and tell me the story of Mission Oxygen.
So Mission Oxygen is, it's just a 3-month-old initiative. It was just something that was born out of sheer, I think, a willingness or a feeling of helplessness, because I don't know if many of our listeners would know today, but India faced a really bad second wave in late April and early May of this year. It was far worse than anybody could anticipate or prepare for, in fact. And there was a huge shortage of oxygen. We had cases shooting up, increasing 100%, 200% every. People were just dying, just for the lack of oxygen. And that's, if you just come to think of it, that's the most basic commodity that humans have. It's oxygen is for free, but people were dying because of that. And I think at that point of time, me and a few of my other entrepreneur friends, startup founders, we got together. We started this initiative called Mission Oxygen, where we basically decided that we are going to do whatever we can to help in this situation, and we're going to source oxygen from wherever in the world we can. And so in a very short space of time, we raised about $10 million.
Wow.
We we had 44,000 donors from 121 countries.
Right.
We imported 5,300 concentrators, 10 liters oxygen concentrators.
So this is the concentrator is the thing that can actually create oxygen for you.
Yes, so it's a standalone machine. Each machine weighs about 27 kgs, and it sort of generates oxygen from the air. All right, so it has a membrane, and it's a scientific product. But at the end of the day, it was getting manufactured in some other country. So India didn't have the capability to actually manufacture these.
Right.
So these were either getting manufactured in China or some European countries. We found a facility in China, which was a WHO approved facility. Very quickly, not very quickly, but yeah, we had to charter 9 planes, dedicated charters into India from 7 different ports in China, airports, and we distributed about 5,300 concentrators to about 380 plus hospitals across 28 states. And in the last 2 months, and we're setting up 37 oxygen generation plants. We donated about 55,000 oximeters. These are pulse oximeters that actually measure your oxygen.
Oh yeah, and on the finger, yes.
On the finger. So those were donated to a government program. So from an impact analysis, we probably impacted about 6.5 million people in the country. In one way or the other, in terms of providing them facilities or oxygen and all of that. So, but yeah, the whole idea was just to save one life. The intent was only to do little bit. We didn't plan for this. We didn't really envisage that we're going to have so much support and so much of money, and we'd be able to do so much as well. But it worked out because I think at that point of time everybody had the same intent. People were just willing to do whatever they can to help. And to be very honest with you, we didn't hear a no. For 2 months, no matter who I spoke to anywhere in the world for any kind of help, we got people opened their contact books, their network books. They had everybody on a hotline, and we were getting impossible stuff done across the world, right? Whether it was getting stuff out of airports into planes, whether it was people flying at middle of the night across China, whether it was shipments getting cleared, custom cleared within like half an hour, where otherwise it would take a week. So there was some incredible stuff and incredible support that we got from all over. And but yeah, I think it's just humanity, isn't it? People were really not bothered about whether somebody was rich or poor, or whether somebody was black or white, or or what color or race. It just everybody was just so focused on a single objective, right? And then shows, actually, if you really think about it, and we discuss this, that it shows the power that is there within the humankind. If we set our mind to something and everybody follows and has the same objective at heart. So that's the story.
So we saw pictures on our TV here. And things were horrific.
Yeah.
And there was a real outpouring of emotion here, where we saw some of the things that were going on. I'm not going to describe it because I think with some people it's still too raw to talk about.
Right.
Did you find that there was any blockages at any stage, or anybody getting in your way, or did you have to push at things to get it going?
To be very honest with you, we didn't really rely on anybody. I think we didn't really feel the need to approach any organization, whether it was private or government, and say that would you do this for entrepreneurs? We can pull in our resources. We'll do things on our own. Whether it was sending money, raising money, whether it was buying stuff, doing our due diligences, whether it was transporting, logistics. So everything was done across the spectrum by individuals who were part of this initiative, right? And we got a support of a lot of organized companies and even government organizations, but we didn't really reach out to them saying that we are depending on you to do this. And I think that that is probably one of the reasons why we could do what we did, because there were no hierarchies, there was no accountability for a lot of people there. And I think because otherwise in a bureaucratic system, what happens is that you get very bound by limitations and approvals, and that time we were working on a yesterday basis, right? Everything had to be done in the moment, and you couldn't really wait for people to give you a go ahead to, okay, just okay, now I'll take an approval from my boss, and then he's going to take an approval from his boss, and eventually it'll take 5 weeks for any approval to come in. So because we were agile, we were dynamic, and we were not answerable to anybody, I think that is what really facilitated the speed at which we could execute things. I mean,
Yes.
within 25 days, importing 6,000 machines worth 180 tons of cargo via 9 planes, distributing to more than 380 hospitals. I mean, we covered thousands and thousands of miles and kilometers. But it happened, and it happened because the intent was right, and people were willing to help whenever we asked them. But we were not dependent on anybody, and we were just taking our decisions in the moment.
So that you must have, there must have been many lives saved in doing that.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we did a small study of the impact that we made, right? So the 5,300 concentrators, they would have saved about 120,000 lives over the last 3 months.
Right.
And then if you look at the impact with the plants and all the other stuff we did, it's going to be about 6.5 million people in the next 1 year. So
right.
Because these machines are going to stay there in these hospitals,
yes,
for the next wave. And India is a large country, right? I mean, I was reading yesterday, 87% of the people in UK probably have antibodies now, either due to being infected, or it was on Daily Mail.
Or yes, we've had
vaccination. Yeah, but we are very far off with that. We have
Yes.
a huge population, and a third wave is going to be inevitable. So all the stuff that we've actually brought in, it is going to help these hospitals take care of patients in the in the next phases as well. So it's not like we though we had an impact in that moment because we saved a lot of lives, but if we are going to have an impact with all of the stuff that we did in the next year or two as well.
So what's the future for Mission Oxygen? What's going to happen going forward?
So actually, a lot of people ask us, to be very honest with you, we are entrepreneurs, and we are not full-time social. We have not been involved like this ever in full-time social work, but it is something that gives a lot of satisfaction. And we are actually doing more programs now. We are looking at vaccinations. We are even looking at medical professional trainings, because a lot of people in the smaller towns and cities do not have the right training to actually treat COVID patients, and that's also one of the reasons why we saw a larger fatality rate. And we're partnering with organizations as well to to train these medical professionals. And the third thing that we are actually looking at is taking care of some children. Because there has been such a huge number of deaths in the country. There's not some, but quite a few children have lost one or both of their parents. And that's one of the biggest concerns that we see going ahead, because when you have so many children who are now without parents, there has to be some kind of support. There has kind of system that has to be created to support these children and infants, for the rest of their lives. So we're looking at things now, but we're also still recovering from the work that has gone by, because there is still a lot of paperwork that is there. We have Ernest & Young who's doing an audit, because we raised a lot of money. So there's a lot of after effects of that as well. So we're just taking care of that, and we're hoping that we don't have to see the same kind of peak and the wave that we saw in the first, because it was really horrible. I mean,
yes, we saw it. Yeah, it was terrible.
Something that you cannot imagine ever going through again. It's a thing of nightmares. So we hope we don't have to see that again ever again. But yeah, but we, if there is a need, then I'm sure we will be there to trying to do something.
Good, good. And the Mission Oxygen website is missionoxygen.org, isn't it?
Yes.
Right.
And there's an Instagram account as well with Mission Oxygen India, and we still put out a lot of updates there because our oxygen plants are still coming in and they're still getting installed at various hospitals across the country. So there's a lot of information there if anybody wants to check out.
Rahul, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about it. I mean, and as I said, we saw the pictures on the TV and it looked horrendous, and it's great that someone's actually stood up and shown some leadership and actually wanted to try and sort the problem. And there's lots of problems out there in the world, and the more people that can stand up and actually help and use their position to do that, the better. So thank you so much for coming on and talking about it.
Thank you so much, Tim, and thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's been great talking to you.
Same here. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye.